we're gonna go through the basic setup on a bench press. Now, I'm not gonna claim this setup. Dave Tate and Casey Williams have reorganized my bench from the ground up. They have a video out on it. I'm gonna let you guys know how it worked for me and how I'm gonna teach these guys. So we're gonna do a 4-point stance. 4 points of our body are gonna be in contact with the floor and the bench at all times. We got our feet, our butt, our upper back, and our head. That's gonna be the most efficient and most stable position to be in to transfer force from the floor into the bench, into the bar. Now, you may be asking why I keep saying into the bench. From a very basic physics standpoint, you are not pushing the force into that bar. The amount of force you push into the bench allows the bar to go up from you. So you wanna drive as much force as you can into the bench to allow the weight to go up. And this is the most efficient way that I have been taught how to do it. All right, so I'm gonna have you lay down on the bench to set up. First, I'm gonna have you put your hands on the frame of the bench. The first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna set up our foot position so that we can get into the proper back position. So I'm gonna have his feet further out so that his knee is below his hip. This is gonna allow us to drive back into the bench. This is gonna be similar to squatting. You're gonna make the same motion. So he is now going to squeeze his glutes and externally rotate his knees outward, which is coming from his glutes and his hips. This is gonna produce the most amount of force, recruiting the most amount of muscle, giving the most amount of stability, which is going to move the most amount of weight. His next is he's going to drive himself up into the bench. You will feel your traps roll up and below you. When this happens, he's gonna have an arch in his back. I should be able to pass my hand through his lower back. Now, before we talked about that bridge structure. This is a stable structure in the human anatomy. He is now he's in an extreme stable position so that if I walk up to him and he's benching, he's barely gonna shake and move because he is externally rotated, he's fired, and he is braced throughout his whole body. After he has his foot position locked in, his back is locked in, upper and lower, now we're gonna move to his hand position on the bar. He's locked in everywhere else on his body, now we're gonna get him locked into the bar. So after you're locked in, I want you to keep driving into that bench, back towards me. Now you can grab the bar. This whole time, he's not stopping with his leg pressure and his leg drive. That stays activated during his walkout, during his eccentric, during his pause or his isometric, all the way back up on his concentric. So, tension in the legs, squeezing your lats nice and tight. You're pulling the bar apart, lift off, keep that tension in your legs, walk it out. We're gonna take a big breath up top with our balloon, and we're gonna reach our chest up to meet the bar. Good, go again. This whole time he's driving with his legs back towards me, keeping that force from the floor, going into the bench, which is going into the bar. Good.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, notice like the order of operations, like he got tight before he put his hands on the bar. A lot of people will put their hands on the bar, then try to get tight.
That's a huge, huge point that Alex just made. Why is that significant?
Well, I mean, if you try to get tight with your hands on the bar, you're probably going to be in the wrong position anyways.
On top of that, now this goes to squatting and deadlifting. If you try and reset or become tight with an external load on you, it won't be as set solid as if you do it before you lift the weight out.
Because you can't do that in a regular day.
And that's the difference between like training and competing.
Yeah.
You'll never ever be able to mimic it, and you just won't. You can't do it. And it's kind of like you typically wouldn't squat, bench, and deadlift all on the same day.
Yeah.
You just wouldn't do that because that's not conducive to pushing yourself to like focus in on that movement.
Right.
You can squat and deadlift on the same day. I've squat